Hey all, my name is Jakub Piesik and welcome to my first movie from the series Back to Basics. On this movie I want to show you how to connect the Microsoft Intune and the Apple Business Manager and what you need to do to provision first of device to your Intune tenant from the Apple Business Manager. So let's start. I assume that you already know what is the Apple Business Manager, but if you don't know, please check the description of that video where you find the link to description what you need to do to create that Apple Business Manager account. The first thing what you need to do is go to the Microsoft Intune, go to the Devices tab and select the one of device, iOS, iPadOS or macOS. I will select the macOS. I will go to the macOS Enrollment tab. And first thing what you need to do from that tab is to create Apple MDM push certificate. I will open that option and we see that there is no information about the current status of the Apple MDM push certificate. We need to create one. So first I need to grant permission to send both user and device information to Apple. I agree. Next I need to download the CSR, which will be used to create the Apple MDM push certificate, so I'm downloading it. The next thing, we need to create an Apple MDM push certificate via this website. So I will open that website right now. I will log on with my personal Apple ID, but here is one advice: don't use the personal Apple ID, just create some Apple ID which will be not personal and use that Apple ID to create the Apple MDM push certificate. It will be much safer. As you can see, I already have some of MDM push certificates, but I will create a new one. I need to agree to the terms of use, accept. I need to provide a new notes, and I need to provide a file from the Microsoft Intune. When the file was uploaded, click on the upload button, and the certificate was created. Now we need to download that certificate. And back to the Microsoft Intune. We need to provide here the Apple ID, which was used to create that MDM push certificate, and provide that file which was downloaded from the Apple website. When the file was provided, just click on the upload. Push certificate is now uploaded, and if we scroll up, we will see that last update date, the Apple ID which were used to create that, the serial number, days until expiration, etc., was properly filled in with the necessary information. That was the first prerequisites what you need to meet to have a configured the Apple Business Manager with the Microsoft Intune. So let's go to the another prerequisites. And here will be one more information, because if you don't want to use the corporate devices on your Microsoft Intune tenant and you just want to create a configuration for the BIOD, basically you don't need to do anything else, because if you go to the devices enrollment and allow the users to enroll the BIOD devices, the device will appear here on the macOS devices or on the iPadOS devices, and you can start creating a configuration profiles or the compliance policies. But I will focus on the enrollment program tokens. That means every device which will be appear here on the Apple Business Manager will appear automatically on the Microsoft Intune. First, I will create enrollment program tokens, and here we have information that no tokens found, so I need to create one. I'm clicking the add button, providing permissions to send both user and device information to the Apple. I need to download the Intune public key certificate, so I'm downloading it right now. Again, I need to go to the Apple Business Manager to create a MDM server. I need to provide an Apple ID and provide the Apple token. So I'm going to the Apple Business Manager right now. If I'm on the Apple Business Manager, go to the preferences, go to your MDM servers, because I want to create a new server. I'm just clicking on the add button. I'm providing a name, Intune tenant. Okay, I need to provide a public key. And if we want to allow this MDM server to release the devices, you need to select that checkbox. That means if someone is enrolling device and it will be option on the below of the enrollment program token, there will be information release that device from my organization, and this device will be not managed anymore by the organization. I'm clicking the save. MDM server was created properly. Now I will download the token. Token was downloaded. I'm going to the enrollment programs tokens on the Microsoft Intune. I'm providing the token and providing the Apple ID. One more time, don't use the personal account, but because that is my test tenant and the test IBM, I will be using the personal account. Go to the next. I'm clicking the create button. As we can see, token was properly created. And if we go back currently to the Apple Business Manager, go to the devices, I will select my device. I will select the edit MDM server. I will be selecting to which of the MDM tenant this device will be assigned. Of course, my test tenant. So I'm selecting the continue. For that device, the MDM server was currently updated, as we can see here. And if we go to the Microsoft Intune and to the device tab, we'll see that no results for now because the synchronization is still in progress. But if we will try to sync again after the 15 minutes, the device will appear here, but without an off profile because we didn't create yet an off profile. Because I'm currently on the macOS device enrollment, I will change that option to the iPadOS iOS device enrollment because I will be managing my iPadOS device. So again, to the iOS iPadOS devices, enrollment program tokens, and we can see that the token appear here. The device synced is still 0. If I go here to the profiles, no profiles created because that is the same token which I'm using for the macOS. So I'm clicking the create profile. I will select the iOS iPadOS. I need to provide a name and some description. I'm clicking the next. I need to select the management settings. User affinity, select an option. Enroll with user affinity, enroll without user affinity, enroll with Microsoft Entra shared mode. If we select the enroll without user affinity, that means the device will be do not have assigned user. So for example, some, I don't know, kiosk device, scanner device, or something like that, yes? So we need to provide option. If I select the supervised option to the yes, for example, I will have a more control on the option to enable or disable on the device, as we can see here on the screen. If we're using the locked enrollment, we will select the yes, and that option will block the users to remove the management profile through the iOS or iPadOS settings. If I select the share iPad option to the yes, the Apple Business Manager users accounts from here will be able to log on to the iPad, and depending on our requirements, we need to provide more information here. But what is important, you can use the Apple Business Manager account, not the Entra ID accounts. If we select the sync with computers, allow all, deny all, or allow Apple configurator birth certificate. That means if you select the allow all of the devices will have access to the specific device. If you deny all, any of the device will do not have access to the data on the device, and that means the device will be not able to manage via the items, for example. But if you allow by the Apple configurator, the devices with the certificate from the Apple configurator will be able to access that device. You need to provide a device name that will be useful for the creating dynamic groups. And if you have a cellular data from your network operator, you need to provide the activation server URL here. But I will focus on the different mode for now, and that is the Microsoft Entra shared mode. We need to provide more information that locked enrollment, sync with computers, allow all, and await final configuration. Hold the device in the setup assistant until the first device sync completes. That means if the first sync with the Microsoft Intune will be not completed, the desktop will not appear on the iPad device and the end user will be not able to do anything. Yes. And that user affinity share mode will allow the end users to log on with the Entra ID account. Those accounts don't need to be here because we will be using the Entra ID account. But basically there's one additional profile which we can select, and that is the enroll with user affinity, and that will be the most used of enrollment profile. Enroll with user affinity, we need to select the authentication method, company portal, setup assistant, or setup assistant with model authentication. About the differences you can read on that website. I will provide that link to that website also in the description of that movie. So I will select the setup assistant with model authentication. We need to provide Apple VPP token, but as you can see here, I didn't create the token for the VPP application, so I need to go back to the tenant administration. If we are on the tenant administration, we need to go to the connectors and tokens, go to the Apple VPP tokens and create a new VPP token. That token will be used for downloading the VPP application from the Apple Business Manager. So we are here on the Apple VPP token creation page. We need to go to the locations on the Apple Business Manager. I will create some test location. If the location was created, I need to download that token. So I'm going again to the preferences, go to the payment and billings, and we can see here that here we have 2 tokens. I will select the test company and click download. Token was saved. I'm going back to the Microsoft Intune, providing the VPP token file, providing the Apple ID, providing the token name. Click the next. I need to provide a country and a region, so I will select the Poland. Type of VPP account, business or education, because I'm using the business Apple Business Manager. So I'm selecting the business. Automatic app updates, if we don't allow to application will be automatically update, we need to select the no. If you want to automatically update the application on the end user devices, we need to select yes. Of course, I grant permissions to send user and device information to the Apple. Clicking the next. Scope tags, if we are using it, we need to select a proper, and we need to create an VPP token. So I will create a new enrollment profile, provide a name, user affinity, enroll with user affinity, and again, no VPP tokens found, even if I create one VPP token a couple minutes ago. The token is already here, but we need to assign the company portal application. So if we go to the apps and books, we need to be sure that here the company portal will appear. If you don't have any of company portal application added, you just need to add to your current location. So I'm going here, Microsoft Intune company portal, by license, assign to, choose a location. I will select the test company. I will buy 10,000 of licenses, which will be total cost 0, because that is the free license. I'm clicking the next get button, and the 10,000 licenses were assigned to my account. After a while, this number of license will appear here. As we can see here, 10,000 of license for the company portal. Again, it will not appear here, so we need to go to the tenant administration, connectors and tokens, Apple VPP token. We need to sync, and if we go to the apps, iOS devices, we should see that Intune company portal appear here as the type iOS VPP application, and it's not assigned, but we will be not assigning it right now. Again, go to the devices, iOS, iPadOS enrollment, enrollment program token, my token, profile, create a profile, provide a name, provide a description if it's needed, user affinity, enroll with user affinity, and finally install company portal with VPP. It's available here. Use token, my token. If you select the run company portal in single app mode until authentication to the yes, the device will be locked to open only the company portal application. But if your devices have version higher than, I think, 17.0, the single out mode is not working properly and the device will just hang up. And what you need to do is to reset the device 1 time, 2 times, 3 times until the company portal will be properly opened, and after that end user will be able to log on and the device will be unblocked. So I will select the no. Supervised to yes. If you want to use the locked enrollment to yes, sync with computer, select allow all, and I want to provide a device name template, ADE dash serial, like here. Unfortunately, we have only 2 variables, so we need to be sure that we want those 2 variables will be sufficient for us. AD serial and, for example, dash device type serial. Next, department and department form. For example, that will be used for the providing the IT information, for the IT support information during the configuration. So I will provide the department. Of course, if you're using the different enrollment profiles for the different department, for example, for the social media, for HR, or for the other department, you can provide here the different phone numbers and the department. But I will provide the department as my IT support, setup assistance screens, because we want to be sure that end user will be not clicking the next, select yes, next, etc. buttons. We will go out to hide every setup assistance screen, and we will be enabling only the necessary setup assistance screen. Passcode, yes, it should be set up during the enrollment. The location services, yes, should be set up during the enrollment. Restore, not needed. Apple ID, we will be blocking it because we want to be sure that end users will be using only the, for example, manage Apple ID, or don't use any of Apple ID on the device because it will be fully managed. Terms and conditions not needed. Touch ID and Face ID could be Apple Pay, Zoom, depending on our requirements. If that option are properly configured, we can click on the next button, review and create all options what we configured here, and create the profile. If the profile was created properly, we can go to the devices and we will see that still not device here, but if I click on the sync button, my device, which is visible here, it will appear on the Microsoft Intune. So wait a second, and after a couple of seconds we can see that device appear here, but profile is not assigned. Now I need to go to this checkbox, select it, and click on the assign profile button and click here to select a proper profile. But there is also one option to do that. If I go here to the profiles, I will select my profile. If I go to the assign devices, if I click on the add device button, there will be a list of the all devices, and I will select my device. So I will click right now the next and add button, and the device was appear here. And we need to, of course, save that information and go to the monitor, assigned devices, and we will see that first device will appear here as the assigned device with my ADA enrollment profile. But we see that the state is still not contacted because I need to wipe my test device. Basically, for that movie, it will be everything, because I showed you what you need to do to create Apple MDM push certificate, what you need to do on the Apple Business Manager to create a MDM server, and what you need to do to create the enrollment program token on the Microsoft Intune. On the next movie, I will show you what you need to do to, for example, create the authentication for the Apple Business Manager with your Entra ID accounts, to what you need to do to create a provisioning, that every user on the scoping group will appear here automatically on the Apple Business Manager, and I will focus a bit on the Apple iOS, iPadOS device management. Thank you for watching and see you on the next movie.